On January 13th, 2023, the popular review channel The Critical Drinker posted a video called Why Modern Movies Suck - They Hate Men, Part 1. Here's the first few seconds of that video.
Men, don't you just hate them all? Well, if you happen to be a creative working in Hollywood today, then the answer is probably yeah.
Yes, his voice does sound like that the entire time. Ever since watching this, I've been consumed by a need to talk about it. This has 2.9 million views. Clearly, it resonates with people. The Critical Drinker usually reviews blockbuster movies and complains about culture war stuff, but I'd guess most of his viewers aren't really interested in the culture war stuff, or maybe they just don't notice it and enjoy a guy with an accent complaining about Star Wars, which makes this specific video so unique and special to me. Okay, so why did I wait 2 years to talk about this video? Mainly because it explains so much of what I hate about the discourse surrounding men and male loneliness and the masculinity crisis, whatever you want to call it. But then I realized what my true interest was in this video, and that's how it's a bad video. It has really bad editing. It's bad. And just by trying to explain why this is poorly made, I can also explain what so many people get wrong about modern masculinity. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to argue that the Critical Drinker doesn't understand men. So as you saw, the video starts really strong.
Men.
He has a really authoritative voice. He starts off like, we all know that we're supposed to hate men, right? This works because A, he's really convinced this is true, and B, we're distracted by these cool clips of movies we all love. I love Indiana Jones. I love Terminator 2. I forgot what he was talking about. Oh, right, men. Already within the first minute, we hit a huge problem.
Hard as it may be to believe now, there was a time when we were practically spoiled for choice when it came to cool, awesome, aspirational male heroes on the big and the small screen.
Iron Man, Superman, Batman, Deadpool? Deadpool came out in 2016. Is the nostalgic time we're looking back to so recent? Have we degraded men so much since then?
They were a whole generation of men who kicked ass, triumphed against the odds and saved the day, and usually looked pretty cool doing it.
Wait, hold on. Sure, older generations of men kicked ass, of course, but does that include my generation? Because I saw Interstellar in theaters in 2014 and The Force Awakens in 2015. If you really think about it, I'm like a soldier who stormed the beaches of Normandy. Alright, so you're probably noticing a pattern by this point. The drinker's words don't match up with the movies he shows on screen, like, at all. I'm pretty confident that he or an editor compiled a bunch of clips from IMDb's top 250 movies back in 2016, and he's been using the same hard drive file since then. No shame in that. I mean, I'm lazy as hell too, but the problem is that he lets his arguments get undermined constantly by the images he shows on screen. And that's like... this is my favorite part about this. It's not just a couple times. The whole video is like that. It just keeps happening over and over again, so that if you have any understanding of the history of movies or Hollywood in general, the video cancels itself out. It neutralizes itself. And I don't blame people for not necessarily noticing, because the images move so fast, they go rapid fire through your cornea that, it's effective in shutting your brain off.
The traditional heroic male lead that was pretty much the bedrock foundation of cinema for almost 100 years is apparently no longer a viable commodity in entertainment today.
Montgomery Clift, Richard Burton, Paul Newman, Marlon Brando. I mean, you got cool shots of guys being guys, yeah, but these are not examples of the heroic male lead that he's talking about. These are method actors of the 50s and 60s. Like Montgomery Clift, he was known for his complex, troubled characters. He was gay. Marlon Brando, I mean, these guys broke the mold of acting in general. So to our eyes today, yeah, they look like manly men when you show a second of their performances. But for their time period, they were dangerous, sexual screen presences, deeply psychological, and very, very emotional. If I was making the Critical Drinker's argument, I wouldn't, but if I did, I'd show clips of, I don't know, Gregory Peck or John Wayne. More the type of actors who fit into this traditional model, heroic model he's talking about.
They're too dated, too toxic, too dangerous to put into the limelight, and so they've been replaced with more acceptable alternatives.
What is this image? Like, in 2023, when this video came out, Timothée Chalamet had already played Paul Atreides. Robert Pattinson was Batman. I mean, whatever you think about these actors, these are iconic, dare I say, masculine roles. Pattinson as Batman is intimidating and stoic. Everything he says that he wants. These three guys, they're just like skinny, well-dressed men. Does he hate fashion? And Lakeith Stanfield, like, what is... He's not even in, like, any big movies. What did he do?
Don't believe me? Fuck it. Go turn on your TV and watch basically any commercial break that comes up in the next hour or so. Tell me, how many dumb, hapless, incompetent husbands, fathers, and boyfriends do you see constantly screwing up even the most simple household tasks and needing someone more diverse to bail them out? Go ahead, I'll wait.
I don't know, man. I think you just don't like commercials. The thing about commercials is that they're trying to sell something, and they exaggerate things to make it look like their product can fix your whole life. Wow, this dad is a fucking idiot. Look, he just broke some shit. What an embarrassing father figure. Frankly, I don't see him as an aspirational male hero. And now he's just gonna let this gorilla beat up his family? What a frickin' moron. He probably needs some gorilla glue. The thing is, there's plenty of ads with guys being cool loners with strong jaws. That's because these types of ads are trying to appeal to a vision of who you want to be. There's lots of different types of ads. I just love the tonal whiplash of being like, men used to be badass like Paul Newman and Marlon Brando. Now they're gay and dumb like these guys in a Doritos ad. To give shape to his video, he breaks the issue down into 3 tropes. Trope number 1 is
the death of the stoic man,
in which he explains at length how, super cool guys used to be in movies.
Think about the subtle shifts of power and dominance as their scenes progress. The use of pauses and facial expressions and eye contact.
Guys did used to be cooler in movies, in my opinion. I love old movies like Captain America Winter Soldier.
A stoic character is one that's generally reserved and emotionally distant, the kind of person who bears their troubles and discomforts without too much complaining.
So he compares the cool masculinity from back then to the fragile masculinity of today.
The men in movies and TV shows now tend to come across as annoyingly talkative and expressive, reacting emotionally to what other people say and do, instead of coolly observant and keeping their own feelings in check.
For whatever reason, he's contrasting Tom Cruise and Clint Eastwood in their best roles to Ewan McGregor playing the bad guy in Birds of Prey. And this is the first clip he lets play for a long time. Like, he really hates this performance. I haven't even seen this movie, but it just seems like typical bad guy behavior, right? I've seen many a comically over-the-top villain, and this seems like that. It's kind of like going, man, food used to look so good in old movies. Now Hollywood makes it look disgusting in The Whale. What happened? He complains some more about modern guys not being able to handle protracted silence by showing us clips of Ant-Man and Thor Ragnarok. It's weird how all of the cool stoic guys are in crime thrillers like Heat, but all the dumb guys are in superhero comedies. Clearly there's some conspiracy at hand. And I'm not even arguing that ideas of masculinity haven't shifted in the past 30 years. They obviously have, whether you like it or not. I'm just saying this is a bad way to present it. If you're going to compare masculinity in a crime thriller of the 90s to an equivalent genre of today, be my guest. But I'm guessing he doesn't do that because there are plenty of great modern thrillers with stoic men in them. Alright, so now the critical drinker, in a really stunning reveal, he just puts all his cards on the table. This whole time he's been kind of pretending to analyze what's wrong with Hollywood, but now he wants to tell us what's wrong with how the world sees men.
The reality is that most of the time, men just don't feel things as deeply as people seem to imagine. They don't tend to get hung up on things in the same way that other people do. They don't constantly fret and worry over trivial problems.
Men don't feel things as deeply as people seem to imagine. I have to laugh because it feels very depressing. It's not even like the main message of his video. It's just something he says. Like, I feel like even super hard right anti-feminist guys would disagree with this. But hold on to that because I'll get back to this in a sec. In trope number 2,
the deconstructed hero.
The drinker complains about his favorite movie heroes coming back in Lego sequels just to appear cynical and jaded. Of course, he mentions The Last Jedi, Creed, Star Trek, Picard. You don't have to like The Last Jedi or what they did with Luke's character, but it is like a classic trope. It's just a way to bring in these legacy characters and give them an arc. It can be done well and it can be done poorly. What's weirder, though, in this segment are the other 2 franchises that he complains about.
Or how about Superman? Surely one of the most long-standing examples of the strong, square-jawed, patriotic male superhero. Well, not in the mind of Zack Snyder, who transformed him into a sullen, brooding, conflicted outsider who doesn't even know if he can or should help humanity in any way.
Zack Snyder's Superman fits the perfect definition of a stoic male hero, but the critical drinker probably just doesn't like that movie for some reason, and he's like, no, that's actually a bad example. He wasn't being stoic in the right way. Even people who defend Man of Steel, I won't, think Cavill is playing a reserved, stoic Superman. But then he goes on to complain about Daniel Craig's James Bond.
We have to make him sad and pouty and hung up on a woman who died like 4 movies ago. And when he tries to flirt with women now, it becomes a point of awkward comedy because, gosh darn it, why on earth would they be attracted to a man like him? Yep, that's what I want. I want to be laughing at James Bond.
It's just baffling because the Daniel Craig era of Bond is dark, serious, gritty. Has he seen James Bond movies before Daniel Craig? Gosh dang it, back when Bond took itself seriously. I can't imagine laughing at old James Bond movies. There's no way. in the final trope, well, for this video, he still hasn't made part 2. Trope number 3.
Men are just dumb, I guess.
He complains that in modern movies, the smartest person can never be a man. A couple of his examples are Red Guardian in Black Widow and General Hux in Star Wars, both of whom are generally, comic relief.
The message is always the same. Men and everything that they do are stupid. They didn't earn or deserve anything that they actually have, and most of the time they need a smarter, stronger, and better female character to get them on track.
He gives another example of this with the Ghostbusters 2016, which I'm surprised it took him this long to mention. It actually shows a lot of restraint.
The intended humour here was to contrast his physical attractiveness with his complete lack of brains and common sense, in effect making him a male bimbo, surely one of the most tired of all movie cliches. But again, it's apparently fine to portray men this way because, as we all know, men are dumb, and that's funny.
Not to defend Ghostbusters 2016, but I think a big part of the joke is that it's stunt casting, like they got Chris Hemsworth. Like he is serving a different comedic role than Janine was in the original. I'm not saying it works necessarily, but I don't think it's representative of Hollywood hating men. It's just, what if we got Chris Hemsworth for this part and he was a total moron? I mean, that's kind of funny. Before making his final plea to Hollywood, the drinker backpedals a little bit.
Now, the thing is, I'm not saying for 1 second that every male character now has to be some domineering, super confident alpha male who eats raw meat and destroys everyone around him just by looking at them.
This all brings me to a point not about masculinity, but about movies. The critical drinker throughout this video will compare great movies of the past to shitty blockbusters of today. This appeals to people because it's easy to go, yeah, that's a good old movie, and that's a piece of shit. Hollywood used to make a variety of mid-budget movies. You'd get all sorts of genres, some of which became classics. But now, big-budget movies are relied on by studios to keep the industry afloat. That's why we get $300 million four-quadrant movies, because in order to succeed, they have to appeal to every major demographic all at once. So you're likely going to see less gritty, stoic masculinity in a big-budget Hollywood release, because that movie's designed to appeal to 15-year-old girls and 50-year-old moms. If you want gritty crime thrillers, you can find them, usually at a lower budget or on Netflix. I think it's really bad that mid-budget movies are dying. For a movie to be successful, it has to either be made incredibly cheap or be incredibly expensive and make $1 billion. This is not a healthy way to make movies, and it limits the range of creativity that we see on screen. There's one line earlier in the video that always bothers me when I hear it.
We've got nothing to look forward to in the present, and our past is being taken away from us. You've got to love it.
I get that the critical drinker is an exaggerated character, but this doesn't feel like he's saying a joke. It just feels like this sentiment is just so depressing. Like, is this what you want to put out into the world? Attitudes towards masculinity have shifted, yes, but it's always shifting. What was once considered very feminine and daring has been adopted into the culture, so much so that you look at Montgomery Clift and Marlon Brando and think those are two very heterosexual stoic men. Yes, indeed. Look, talking about this video might seem like low-hanging fruit, but it gets to me. The critical drinker's views on this subject aren't normal, I don't think. He's just good at tricking people into thinking it is. He's appealing to nostalgia, not just to say movies used to be better, but to say that men don't feel as much as people think they do. On the left and the right, I see constantly the sentiment that men want community. Men feel just as much as women, and men want to express that in genuine, healthy ways. To me, it's not really a political debate, I think the patriarchy, cultural norms, limit men and women and limit the ways we're allowed to express ourselves. The drinker's prescription here that men just need to bury it down and that we want to see men on screen doing that too is useless. It's retrograde. This doesn't help anybody. It makes me think if this is what he thinks about men, then I don't care what he thinks Hollywood should do about it. I'm not trying to send any hate the critical drinker's way. I'm just really interested in his thinking through of this topic. And I'll be honest, I prefer making smooth transitions, but today I have to make an exception. I don't know how to talk about this, and I think that's a good thing. Amy's dead-end dream house is an unclassifiable fever dream. There's a talking microwave analysis of the current job market, musical guests, comedy sketches. It explores the uncanny valley of modern adulthood, and it's a funny and terrifying Nebula original from the amazing Maggie Mae Fish. It's a testament to the strength of Nebula as a streaming service that this kind of high-concept, weird, and creative show can coexist alongside my 30-second shitposts. Amy's Dead End Dreamhouse, along with a ton of other exclusive content from your favorite creators, is available on Nebula. Nebula is the largest creator-owned streaming platform in the world. It's where all your favorite creators like Lindsay Ellis, Hello Future Me, PhilosophyTube, me, create exciting new content. There's a ton of exciting original content being produced, from Jetlag to Abigail Thorne's Dracula's Ex-Girlfriend. A lot of you joke about getting your news from my sketches, but you can get actual quality news from great channels on Nebula, like real stuff. Instead of browsing Netflix for hours, I pull up Nebula and I can usually find something to watch in like 2 seconds. If you sign up using my link at go.nebula.tv/mancarryingthing or use the link below, you can get Nebula for 40% off, which is $36 a year or $3 a month. You can also get a monthly plan for $6 a month. And for those of you that want to share everything Nebula has to offer with your family and friends, Nebula is now offering monthly, annual, and lifetime gift cards. Use the link gift.nebula.tv/mancarryingthing to give a month of Nebula to a friend for just $6, a year for $36, or a lifetime membership for $300. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks as always for supporting this channel. All right, bye everyone. Bye-bye.